500 spots in the masjid, so we can pay off the loan and the riba on the masjid, and we can renovate the roof and fix the parking lot. So alhamdulillah, yesterday we were able to sell 300 of them. 200 are left. So inshallah, there are pledge forms here, and there are also some at the reception. If you miss the fundraiser, you can take your pledge inshallah and make a donation. Spot is $1,000, and this is a sadaqah jariyah on behalf of you and your family or parents, and you will get a tax receipt. If you are not able to help, maybe you can take some of them, give them to someone who can donate, and inshallah, Allah will give you the reward for helping in this cause, inshallah. So, before I begin the talk today, how many nationalities are represented here? Do we have Indians and Pakistanis here? Raise your hand. MashaAllah. Turkish? What else? Somalis? MashaAllah, we have a few. We have Bengalis. Yes, there's one in the back. MashaAllah. What else? Egyptians? MashaAllah. Jordanian? Yes. Syrians? Yes. So tell me if your nationality, I've not mentioned your nationality. Raise your hand and tell me. Palestinian? MashaAllah. Iraqi? Iraqi? Bosnia, Afghanistan?
China.
Morocco.
Canada? Morocco, Abu Yusuf? What else? Algeria? Italian? What else? Sudan? Kazakhstan? What else?
Philippines.
And many more, and also maybe there are more among the sisters. I know Canadians are here as well. So this gives you a flavor of the diversity of the Muslim community. It's the most diverse in the world. At the time of the Prophet Sahaba, the Sahaba were also diverse. If you looked at the gathering of the Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ, of course, had Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali. They were Arab from Asia. Saudi Arabia is in Asia. But they also had Salman al-Farisi, the Persian, Suhaib al-Rumi, the Roman. They had Bilal radiallahu anhu al-Habashi from Africa. So all the continents were represented at that time. So as I said, the Muslim community is very diverse. We are told in the Quran that this diversity is one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You read in Surah Rum, ayah number 22. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about His favors and His the marvels of His creation. He lists a number of them, but one of them, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالِمِينَ. One of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the miracles of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creation of the heavens and the earth, the diversity of your colors and tongues, languages. Indeed, in this are signs for those who know. For those who know and understand the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So again, this diversity is one of the signs of the powers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you go to a bakery, and the only thing they have is the Lebanese bread, the bita bread, right? This is the only thing they do. Next door, there's another bakery. They have the pita bread, they have the Italian bread, they have the Somali bread, they have Turkish bread, and they have croissant. They have 200 other types. Which one of them do you think is more skilled in his business? The one who has more diversity, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this example to show you the power of His creation. Also, I've been always thinking about this ayah. Why is our diversity a sign of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why is it a miracle? Then I realized that this world would have been boring if it was just one thing. Right? If we don't have Asians and Africans and Europeans and Latinos, we're all the same. We eat the same food. I love biryani, right? And this is why I speak Urdu fluently. Miyachi Urdu bolta hoon, right? So I love it. But I don't love it very spicy, right? A little bit. So I always get invitations. Indian, Pakistani brothers, mashallah, they're generous. Come over, we have biryani. I said, Acha, no problem. Kui masala nahi, I go. And I said, brother, I'm Egyptian, we don't eat spicy food. They said, don't worry, just come, man, come. And when I go, they said, we made it mild for you. This is what we give for our babies, mild. I take one bite, just like Jahannam. Very spicy for me, subhanallah. I love biryani so much, but I can't eat it every day. If I eat it like for 2 months in a row, it's gonna be boring, man. So you gotta change. Eat Turkish food, Egyptian food, Palestinian food, Turkish delight, Somali chicken suqar, beef suqar. This is why we have the diversity. And mansaf, sorry, I forgot mansaf, which is very common in Palestine and Jordan, very popular. So this is why this diversity is what makes our life in this world exciting and interesting, right? Imagine if all the men in this world look like Donald Trump, and all the women look like Lady Gaga. This world would have been a disaster. You would say, Ya Allah, just take me. I don't want to live in this world. So the reason why we have this diversity in the world where we look different from each other, this is one of the signs, this is one of the marvels of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is the reason why this world is interesting. And imagine if we speak one language. Doesn't matter if we speak Urdu, if we speak Turkish, just one language everywhere. And we have the same culture everywhere in the world. This world would have been boring. Just one culture, it's good, but it's gonna be boring. Plus a lot of people will run out of business. Tarjama, the people who do translations. No need, one language. If you have the same culture, the same things all over the world, no tourism, no one is gonna travel anywhere. Why go to Turkey? Why go to Morocco? Why Singapore? You have everything here. It's all the same. So this is why the diversity is good, because it's very enriching to our culture, enriching to our lives in this world. Plus, it's a way of identification. Like say, imagine if all of us look the same. Like some people when they go to China, like they see everyone is the same. I remember one time I met a Chinese brother. He was in Egypt and he said, Subhanallah, how do you Egyptians know each other? Because you all look the same. I said, what are you doing? No. Okay, so now imagine if they have surveillance camera and the RBC bank or TD bank was robbed. And the guy who robbed the bank, and there are 2 million people who look exactly like this guy, right? It's gonna be very difficult to identify. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us different. And this is the beauty of our creation in this world. My last point, subhanallah, sometimes we take this sign of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this beautiful thing of diversity, and we abuse it. Like in some places in the world, if you are dark, you would be in trouble. Like in the US, right? In the US, if you're black, if you do something wrong, the punishment will be handed not based on what you have done, but on your color. You read all the time about the judicial system over there. If a white person does something wrong, commits an act of terrorism, he has a mental problem. If a Muslim or a black person or a Latino did something wrong, he's a terrorist. So it has everything to do with your color. So we abuse it. Sometimes, subhanAllah, in the US at the time of Malcolm X, and this is why they developed the ideology of the Nation of Islam, because black people were abused. They were lynched, they were abused, and this is why they came up with this misdaf of ideology of the Nation of Islam. Totally different from Islam. So they had this saying, if you are white, you are right. If you are yellow, you are mellow. If you are brown, stick around. If you are black, go back. Something like this. Because black were not welcome at the time. They couldn't eat at the same restaurant. They couldn't sit in the bus, and so on and so forth. But in Islam, إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the one who is most righteous. When it was time to make salah, make adhan, the Prophet ﷺ didn't call Abu Bakr or Umar. He called Bilal, who used to be a slave from Africa, because he had a beautiful voice. The Prophet ﷺ believed in specialization. If you had a beautiful voice, you make adhan. If you are strong, you are going to defend Islam. If you have money, you donate, right? It had nothing to do with the ethnicity or the culture. Sometimes, subhanAllah, in some Muslim countries, you are respected based on the color of your skin. It's ugly, it still exists in Muslim countries. Those of you who have been to certain places, I'm not going to name countries, sometimes they are not respected because of their color. It's a beautiful thing, we abuse it. We should be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the diversity. Asians, Africans, Europeans, Latinos, this is a beautiful thing. I'm going to conclude with just this small story. There was a Pakistani brother, he was working in an Arab country. I'm not going to name the country. And this brother died. So they brought him to the masjid for Salatul Janazah. It was Maghrib time. They wanted to bury him before next day, so they said, okay, Maghrib time, we'll take him to the graveyard. At the same time, for Maghrib, an Arab brother died. They brought his Janazah to the masjid. So they prayed Janazah for both, the Arab and the Pakistani. And of course, there were not many Pakistani brothers over there. Only 4 people came for his Janazah. So after Salah, the Arab brothers, who were like 5,000-10,000, they took the Arab brother for the graveyard to make dua for him. And the Pakistani brothers, 4, just 4 of them, they took the Pakistani brother to another graveyard to bury him. So the Pakistani janazah was not attended. It was only 4 people who carried the casket. It's a very simple small thing to carry the body, wrapped in the shroud. That's it. The Arab brother was shrouded in the same way. The shroud, this flat piece of wood, and they took him to the grave. 2 different graves. So, as I said, the Pakistani brothers were 4, and the Arab brothers, they were like 10,000, and they were standing by the grave of this Arab brother, the Pakistani brother. No one went with them, only 4 Pakistani brothers. They took the brother, they were making dua for him, and they buried him, they went home. The Arab brothers, 10,000. They took the body, they put him in the grave, and for 15 minutes they were making dua, Ya Allah, forgive him, Ya Allah, forgive this deceased, give him the shafa of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, take him to Jannah, Jannat al-Firdaus. 15 minutes. They put him in the grave. The son of the dead person went to his grave to kiss him. He opened, he found the Pakistani brother. They confused the caskets when they were in the masjid. And subhanallah, 4 people, but Allah got 10,000 people to make janazah and pray for him, take him all the way to the graveyard and make shafa for him. The Arab brother, only 4 people made dua for him. It's from Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the best in this life and the best in the life to come. So the question for last night, we know that 4 angels are carrying the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dunya, but in akhirah there will be 8. Because this is a special day, and this is mentioned in Surah Haqqa, وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. On that day, the throne of Allah will be carried by 8 angels, and the winner is Dr. Istiqlal Sami. Dr. Istiqlal Sami. Is he here? Dr. Istiqlal Sami? I'll keep it for him, inshallah. We can give it to him tomorrow, or he can take it from my office. Tonight's question, inshallah, there's 25 prophets are mentioned by name in the Quran. 25 prophets mentioned by name in the Quran. Who is the most mentioned prophet by name in the Quran? This one prophet is mentioned probably more than all of the other prophets combined. So if you know the name of that prophet, email me by tomorrow, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all us.